There we go.
There we go. All right. We are recording. Yay. So
Hey.
now, I'm so excited. Welcome to another edition of This Time Around, where you're hearing it on my podcast feed, as well as finding it on YouTube and anywhere that your podcatcher picks up podcasts. And I have a hard time putting these out on Facebook. I don't know. There's something about maybe it doesn't like the competition with YouTube or something.
Yeah, I noticed that. So I
Yeah.
was going to play around with it, after today. I said, let me give this some
Cool.
attention. I'll let you
Cool.
know if I get it.
Yeah, cool. Or just if you find a way and then just share it out and tag me and I'll tag you if I get there for if you get to
Okay.
heaven before I do.
I thought we were already there.
We are already there. Well, oh, we used to play with those songs. Dig a little hole and pull me through. But then there was if I get to heaven before you do, I'll plug up the hole and the heck with you. And I remember my teacher saying, "That's not very nice. We'll say goodbye to you." And I'm thinking, that's not nice either.
That's funny.
Anyway, so here with I feel like I want to call you both the Williams.
We go by many names. It's okay.
Audrey and Karen, Audrey Williams and Karen Watson. You know, it's very funny. I know a Karen, Karin Watson, and it's
Oh,
just so funny. I think one day I called you when I was trying to call her.
yeah.
Anyway, here with you both. So, and we've done this before, but go ahead and introduce yourselves and talk a little bit about who you are and what you bring, because you constantly bring so many things.
Well, Karen's prompting me to go first. So I'm Audrey Scott Williams. And wow, as I get older, it's very interesting to figure out who I am in terms of an introduction, because I've lived my life so full. But I am primarily a peace walker, a spiritual leader, an indigenous, very concerned with indigenous issues and writing the historical books so that we can know the truth about who we all are and find the threads that make us whole, that remind us of the pure beauty and grace that each of us are. So I kind of do that. I also may be adding a new part to my name, and that's called the Explorer, in terms of not just walking around the world, but maybe being shot off into outer space and having a chance to look back at the earth. And so we can talk about that later on. But that's something I'm contemplating. And then finally, we have a big project that Karen and I and many others are working on called the Redemption Voyage 2026. And that's at www.redemptionvoyage.org. And we'll talk more about that as we get into our introduction.
Good. We did talk a little bit about that last time, but yeah, I want to hear more of an update. And so great. Well, you bring so many gifts and explorer. That's interesting. Okay. And Karen, I'm looking at your bio, but tell us about you, because we didn't get you in here enough last time.
Okay, I'm Karen Hunter Watson. I'm also a peace walker. We walked around the world for peace and several other walks in Africa and different on this U.S. and also in other places in the world. I'm a writer and a vocalist. I've written several books. I've written several songs. Matter of fact, I have an album out recent called Timeless that I just put out probably a few months ago. And I'm an artist, visionary artist. I'm a spiritual practitioner. Also a voyager, looking forward to the Redemption Voyage, because that's going to be a very, very interesting endeavor that we have. But all in all, I'm just doing my spiritual work and bringing them all together as one.
Bringing what together?
What together? It all together.
It all together.
Yeah, bringing it all together. That's who I am. All of the things that I do help to make me the person that I am. And I consider myself to be a spiritual, I wouldn't say warrior, but a spiritual person.
I like that. I don't like that term warrior. It's kind
Yeah,
of interesting.
person. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. And I see it says that you are a minister. Where did I see this? Oh, I'm in the wrong thing here. Let's see. Where is this? You performed numerous marriages and ceremonies and for all kinds of people around the country, including performing the first legal same-sex marriage ceremony in the state of Alabama. You did that?
Yes, I did. We
Oh.
were down at the courthouse in
Montgomery.
in Montgomery, Alabama, and they had just passed the law, and we thought we better hurry up and do it so it wouldn't. So before they changed their mind, which I
Oh,
think
and then you
happens
did it
for
here
everyone.
again. Okay.
Right. So I was able to do that, and it was really different. All the magazines and newspaper people in my face, and I just had to keep going forward with what I was doing, and it was really an interesting time. But I'm also, as you said, a minister.
With
Uh,
I saw something about oneness.
Oneness in Love Universal.
I've
Yes.
never heard of that. I've
It's,
heard of others.
I guess you would say it's not something that's in a building.
It's
Uh,
okay. Mine
yeah,
isn't either.
yes. So it's people are aware of it, and we come together periodically from time to time to discuss spiritual things.
And so with that ministry, you can do all the things that other ministers do, right?
I'm an ordained minister. Have been
That's
for
right. Yep. So, yeah, I mean, I'd like to see people's titles mentioned at SEC. Des is a minister. I am. I know you are, Audrey. You worked really hard to get that. But yeah, I mean, I just think, hey, that's important to be able to say. And so you've done weddings and you've done other ceremonies.
Yes.
Yeah. And wow, heard you speak. I think like maybe a couple months ago or 6 weeks
Yes.
ago.
Yes.
That was absolutely awesome. That was a great talk.
I'm grateful.
Yeah. And how many songs? How many songs have you written?
Oh my goodness. I was counting them the other day. I must have close to 40 songs written or more. Yeah, I think I had enough to put on 3 or 4 albums if I was, but I concentrate on just the ones that I have right now and getting them out there so people know about it. And now right now I'm working on another album. I have 4 songs, and I've written new songs recently. So it just goes on and on. I am truly blessed to have a creative, I don't know if it's a creative gene that spirit has given me, but creativity is something that flows for me just like water. It just flows. And I'm really grateful for it because I enjoy it.
Good.
A lot of people say they do things that their jobs are jobs that they're not really happy with, but it pays the bills and this kind of thing. My creativity is something that I'm truly happy with. And I'm grateful that it is also helping to pay the bills.
Yeah. Wow. That's great. Because actually, I mean, singing is kind of like, in Mary Poppins, the spoonful of sugar helps, singing
Right.
with a song in your heart, with a song in my mouth, a song coming forward. It just, it's pretty hard to sing and feel horrible.
That's right. Absolutely. You're absolutely right.
Even when you're singing the blues.
That's right. You can even get into them and really get all
Yeah.
excited, rock out with them.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, that absolutely excellent. So the two of you kind of do something separately, or do you do something separately? But you do a whole lot together.
Yeah, we've been in a relationship for about 23 years now, and so we kind of meld. It's hard to think about doing something, for me anyway, without Karen being there, because she's such an anchor with all of her wisdom and compassion. But she also has a side of her that's very clear, very very, just straight as an arrow, get the job done. So she's a incredible motivator, and one that when I'm feeling like I didn't do well enough or I don't know if I can do this, she's the one that's pushing me in the background. And so I appreciate that. And the other thing is that she's so creative that she lends her creativity to almost, whether I'm doing a talk or we're engaged in a particular project. She's constantly between her heart, I should say, and her creativity. It's hard to see us being separated because eventually things just begin to blend.
So when you would look at the center and the sanctuary, I imagine that was both of you coming up with the ideas of what to try to move things around.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
right, exactly.
Yeah. I know I often hear Karen in the background kind of whispering like, it's time to do, it's time to do such and such now,
Yes, that's Karen. And the other thing I will say at the Spiritual Enrichment Center, what was so much fun for us, we would often go there when nobody was there and just do our prayer treatments and just get really, really, just high in spirit. And out of that would come creative ideas. Let's try it. Let's arrange it this way. Let's do this way. Let's, just that constant flow of keeping energy in motion. And so I'm grateful that we had that opportunity.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that is nice. Actually, I've been wanting to do more of that. And well, we'll see. But I know we were there yesterday to talk about the rearrangement of some things and talk about the sound and the camera and this and that. So anyway, but I was super glad you were there last Sunday, and it's just great. It's just wonderful when you can be.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to Karen and I both. We have one thing to work out on our schedule, but we plan on being there just to see you on Sunday.
Oh, yay. Well, you shouldn't be out of town because you're going to be there the night before.
Oh, I know.
At your house.
Have a little project we've been working on, and it's early in the morning, so we should.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what do you mean explorer? Tell us more about that.
Sure. The older I get, the more greater appreciation I have for people who've just really stepped out, and it doesn't matter what area, just decided to explore something new. And I think one of the things that I often hear, or the expectation is, the older we get, the less of that we do. We kind of get sedentary in our habits and our ways. Well, I've sort of claimed in this part of my life this title of explorer. And every opportunity I have to explore life, to explore different forms of spirituality, to explore music, dance, whatever it may be, life itself. I'm claiming that. And I'm also looking at what projects and programs I can initiate or join with to continue to show how life continues. I mean, I don't plan on slowing down. I don't know
Good.
what that really means.
Me either.
My motto has always been live till you die. So I'm going to live it out. When I leave here, I won't have anything to complain about. But the other part of being an explorer, we have one project, the Redemption Voice, that we talked about last time. And it's a journey of rediscovery of history, of sort of going back to retrieve what may have been lost, so that we can bring that forward, and healing. And so with that, we'll be sailing the seas as we sail across from Mobile Bay to Benin, Africa, and up the coast of Africa and back to the United States, landing in Fort Monroe. So that will be a tremendous opportunity to take 24 young people who are in college and who are in STEAM programs, science, technology, engineering, arts, and math, and have
Mhm.
them actually engaged in research while they're on this journey and integrating that with students in Africa. So I'm really excited about that. That's certainly an exploration, an adventure, and in many, many ways, adventures of the heart, as well as the adventures of going across the ocean and visiting new lands and new cultures. Um, and then I decided to do something really out of the box. I contacted Virgin Galactic, and
Mm.
I decided that I want to be on their next flight going into outer space. So I
Ooh.
am waiting to hear whether they are going to accept my request. And if so, you may see a video of me in a weightless state up looking back on the earth. So I decided I wanted to do that. To me, that would be the ultimate capstone, given that we've walked around the world. Now let's take a look at it
I
from
love
outer
it.
space. And
Wow.
the ultimate goal of mine there is to encourage people to live. We get caught up in all the dialogues that are going on right now, that I think in many ways what I have witnessed is people who are forgetting to live, that
Yes.
anything is possible, anything is
Anything.
available.
Mhm.
That this is a world that's just calling forward our creativity. That's what I think we're here for.
I
And
agree.
so I just wanted to, that's sort of what being an explorer is all about.
Karen, are you going out? Are you going to go with her?
No, I wouldn't be able to do it, probably mainly because of my breathing issues that I have. They probably, because you have to do a physical and all of that, and I don't even want to carry myself through all of that. So I'll
Hmm.
have her go up and she'll tell me about it.
I can't believe that you would let her go without you. I mean,
Well,
I
I would
just,
love to go, but I really don't think they're gonna let me go.
I know, I understand. I understand. Well, you'll probably be at the control center making sure that they're doing all the right things, right?
Yeah.
No, that is wonderful. So this whole age thing, we were talking about it before we went on the air. I think I mean, I totally agree with you. The world is calling for our creativity, and there's something for me about getting older that feels really freeing. Is that, Karen, how is that for you?
I feel the same way. I remember when I was around 40 years, my 40th year, I remember that. I thought to myself, I said, I don't have to just get older, I can get younger.
Yeah.
And so from that point forward, my birthday was, I would always retract backwards. So I don't know how old I am. I know what they say on the birth certificate, but
Yeah.
I feel very young. And I think
Good.
that I continue to do that. And I do things that I feel good about. I do things that I'm excited about, that encourage me. And I don't go along with what people say. I do what my body feels. If
Good.
I feel like I want to sleep half the day, I'll do it. If I feel like I want to stay up for 24 hours, I'll do that. But I pay attention to what my body says, and I let it be my guide, and not what um, everyone else wants to say about this aging thing. Because to
Good.
me, age is just a number. I
It
mean,
is.
I could turn it around, get rid of it. It's still just a number, because I am who I am, and that's just the way it is. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you think, Audrey?
Oh, I mean, I've always been fascinated with this notion of ageism. It sort of says you have a time to be born and then you time out. I don't believe that. And I guess that to me is related to how I grew up and how my mother, the influence that she had. And, for her, this lifetime is just another act in the play. And
Hmm.
uh, when we leave this life, we're just zooming right into the next,
Exactly.
So I've always, when I say live till I die, that was a motto my mom and I had when I was about 12 years old. I adopted that and I went, Mom, this is my motto. And she says, well, good, live it. And, so I think that, uh, yes, we do age. And yes, as we age, we gain more and more wisdom.
Yes.
We regain the sense of being able to call things the way they are, and I think that's a good thing. But I think sometimes I find with some of my friends, that they become sedentary, and the things that used to bring them so much joy, they've kind of let go of. And that's not a condemnation at all. It's just an observation.
Mhm.
Everybody's going to do life the way whatever way they're guided to do. But I just want to keep living, and keep just be alive in my aging process.
I have a feeling that what I'm about to say, I have a feeling that Karen, you will know what I mean. I feel like the more that I lean into spirit and I mean lean into what feels to me like a spiritual team, the more I feel like things reverse that were health challenges and
Yes.
and other personal challenges. I feel it's like there's a different law that's operative in my life now, that it isn't based on a lot of what they said. It's really based on trusting this other realm. And the more that I do it, it just seems like it is that a whole lot of other things reverse.
Exactly. I
Yeah,
don't feel yes, I agree with you, Debbie, 100%.
it's
I know that,
amazing.
yeah, when you lean into for me, that spiritual realm,
Hmm.
there's no time and space in that. So I can be exactly where I want to be, and I can be exactly who I am in that space right here on this earth plane. So I agree with you 100%.
Yeah, I've literally had um, things with health and other situations that I know I could have seen other ways that they played out, or symptoms that certain things would bother me. And I just find that that whole landscape continues to change. It's just not based on those old things. It's amazing.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is, if it depends on who you talk to, but it sounds like a lot of people are feeling like this world is really quite a mess right now. And do you think it's more of a mess than what it was? Or do you think it's been a mess for a lot longer than people just didn't know it?
I think it's been a mess for quite a while, and people just didn't know it. I think a lot of things are just coming to the forefront where people
Hmm.
can see them.
Hmm.
My thoughts about that is that it's not so much of a mess, is that it's everything coming up front so it can be seen, so that it can be worked on, so that
Hmm.
it can be changed, so that whatever needs to happen for it to make a better world, that's what can happen.
Hmm.
That's the way I think about it. Yeah. Because I'm sorry, because if it stays hidden, then you can't do anything about it. It's just there to destroy and deteriorate if it's something that's negative. But if it
Yeah.
comes to the front, then you can do
Hmm.
something about it and get rid of it and heal it or whatever needs to happen so that it can be a better situation.
Hmm. Yeah. Well, I hear a lot of people just thinking that it's going down the tubes and it's too late, and it's just gonna um it's just gonna destruct. Um I think it seems to me like some things are definitely probably going to go away, but it's for the way of everything coming together in a new way.
Right. That's the way I see it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that also, we've no matter how much we try to dress our historical records up or dress them down, what we're seeing is there's a sort of like this proverbial loop that we get caught in, especially when we build our foundation on less than truth. And the absolute truth is that everything that we need, we are in an amazing place. This planet is absolutely amazing. And we get caught up sometimes in the idea of just stuff.
Mhm.
And so then an economy that's built on some have and some don't have. And it just goes on and on and on. I think what we're seeing now is that we're pushing this paradigm about as far as we can. And we have an opportunity now to use our spiritual essence, our creative spirit to redefine this. We don't have to have World War III. We don't have to continue with this much death and destruction. We can make different choices. And if enough of us are holding that vision and holding the idea of love being more than just, you know, a hug and a kiss, that love is a way of being. And if the more of us who tap into that, and I think I see people tapping into it incredibly at incredible levels right now. And I always think about some of the indigenous teachings that I've had, is that the Earth Mother has everything we need. And the combination of who we are in relationship to the earth allows all kinds of miraculous ways of being and joy and celebration. And so I'm holding in my field of vision that in the midst of the most horrible, horrific violence that's playing out in different places around the world right now, that in the midst of that, we will find our way back to compassion and to love and to making better choices, and not get caught up in dialogues that are orchestrated and don't really tell the truth. So we get ourselves all caught up in it and not even realizing that wait a minute, we don't have all the facts here. So I think that, you know, if we get back to that agape love, you know, loving your nearby or loving your neighbor as yourself, that's a very powerful notion and a very simplistic one that can be applied to human beings, to all life and Mother Earth.
What do you think about community? I keep feeling that there are going to be more. I hear our friend Mike talk about intentional communities, and I have been imagining being in a community where a lot of us live together, and where we are doing a whole lot more to support each other. It's not the same living in houses in this, maybe some kind of housing, certainly, but where we really are there a whole lot more for each other and for the land, and there's, you know, much more fresh food. And my motto for it is that I keep seeing that anyone's need is another person's passion. So no needs go unmet. What do you think about that?
I think that's a beautiful concept. I've heard it for several years. Years ago, people spoke about intentional communities, and I thought they were beautiful. And some people actually began to develop them. At the time when it was happening, it wasn't something that we were. I probably were involved in our walks and everything, so that it wasn't something that we were going to do. But I think it's a very wonderful concept, because we are, so to speak, our brother's keeper. We look out for one another. I think that's what creation. I think my thinking about what Creator wanted for us as people on the earth plane, to look out for one another. And what I like to call them, they're called intentional communities, but I call these little pockets of people that think about each other and think the same way as little crystal clusters, because they come from the Creator. We all do, and we're just, you know, in different places all over the planet, but we all have the same ideology about loving each other and being there for one another. So I think it's a very, very commendable venture for anyone that decides or wants to go into an intentional community or develop one.
Yeah, I think most of the time that Karen and I have been together over these last 23 years have centered around intentional communities, where we're sort of, you know, we've been on walks, and, you know, 17 years of walking around the world, around the country a few times. You know, you live in an intentional community and you draw. One of the things that's so fascinating is that an intentional community tends to draw people in. And we here, where we are now in Alabama, we have what we call the Quantum Leap Transformational Center. And that's our sacred space here on the land. And we're just starting, we've been doing fires for a long time, but now we're opening them up, inviting people to come and just sit around the fire and share.
Oh.
You know, even though we're not all living in the same place, although we do have a tiny house for one of our members who's in and out of Southeast Asia and comes here. So he has this tiny house here. But the point is that we at least have a place where we can gather. And I remember when Karen and I first met, she used to tell me about a dream she had called the gathering place. That would be a house where everybody's welcome. And I think that's what we are kind of moving towards now, that it's really important to have that that sense of community about us. And one of the things, and I'll just end it on this, one of the things that's so important to me is when you combine spiritual intention with earth intention, and it really lifts the vibration around everything. And I'm not using vibration as just this, this favorite word. I'm saying it in the sense, literally, there's a vibrational shift when we come together in community and we are chanting and drumming and celebrating life and doing our prayers. It is powerful. And so I'm excited about that continuing to grow. We've just begun to open it up for others and invite others in, especially in memory and loving embracing of our dear sister's birthday coming up. So, we'll do our first one just for you, Debbie.
Oh, yay. Wow. That's a great way to spend it. And as I asked the question, I thought that's silly because you two, when you did your walk around the room, we
do that sometimes.
The room of the world. You do that too. Yeah. I think that is intentional community. That is what you did. You brought your spiritual intention and with the earth, and that is what you're doing all the time, the two of you. And, when you ran for office, when you came into SEC to do what you do there, when you do your music, Karen, the two of you are constantly intentional and about community, making sure that everyone feels a part of, everyone is included, that all inclusivity. That's intentional community. Yes. That's what you two bring and are.
Thank
all
you.
The time. Yeah. And so that, and it just seems like what you continue to do is you just keep finding more ways or more places to bring it, to just bring kind of that holding space. And you're going to hold space in outer space. You'll have, you'll probably, you'll be bringing it to wherever you are there, Yes. I mean, I heard they have McDonald's up there, but they don't, they.
I hope not. That's not quite my eating. But that's okay if it brings joy.
Yeah, but you'll be bringing this higher vibration, this higher purpose. And I think everything is alive. So I'm sure there are, just innumerable numbers of beings, whether they can be seen or not, who when you're up there, they're like, oh, good. Now we're talking. Now yes. Here's somebody who speaks our language.
Well, Debbie, I believe that to make love and peace and harmony a tangible thing is so important. And we can say, oh, there's a war going on there, but we got to bring more love. We got to do more of this, and that's good. But often people see that as a separation. And I just believe we bring our passion into everything that we experience or that is being experienced around us that affects us. And then we do it in a way that is designed to elevate the humanity and to help us have compassion. In other words, if you're in the midst of a fight, right? Most people do the choose one side or the other. But suppose we chose to stand in the middle.
Yeah.
Suppose we choose to just hold the space for the infinite possibilities that we are, and to begin to devalue a need to have a war, or to allow healing to take place so that we don't have to have a war, not to be afraid to look back and heal what needs to be healed as we go forward together. I just think that that's the world that I am dreaming. That's the world I'm dreaming, so that I don't want to play war down, because that's not my intention. War is tragic.
It
And
is.
we struggle with how to how to move from a warring society to a loving society. We're constantly thinking about that. But on the simplest level is to ask ourselves, what are we warring inside of am I warring inside of my body? Am I
Very
warring
good.
inside of my mind?
Uh-huh.
Where is my balance? What do I have to do to find my way out of this warring essence that's inside of me? I'm in conflict. So what do I do? And I think that's, if we begin there and really begin to not be so quick to take sides, because both sides are hurting. Both sides have been through such a long history of trauma. And so what do we do? I mean, what is the answer? I think we find that inside. When we're clear inside, then we can be clear agents for change for the world.
Right.
Well, I remember one time I gave a talk called the No Fault Law. And, I think it's like what Rumi says, I'll meet you in the field beyond right and wrong. And I know for a while I was getting caught up in and sending out stuff, and I still think, oh, there are people who don't know this that I've heard, and I don't know these other things that they've heard. And I think the truth is somewhere in the middle with just about anything or any relationship. There's one person's perspective and another person's perspective. And it isn't really about right and wrong. I think, or at least it seems like moving beyond that right and wrong to embrace the rightness that's within how everyone feels, and finding what's in common, and or learning to appreciate what's different about what each person brings. And then to just be able to embrace the fact that everyone has been through a lot, and everyone is tired, and everyone needs that grace of being able to show up and be healed, feel that sense of healing, that sense of balance, that sense of knowing that everyone is welcome, and
Yeah.
that
Yeah,
all that.
I think about, as you're saying that, I'm thinking about one of my writers that I just love, and that's Audre Lorde.
Oh yeah.
And she says, your silence will not protect you. And as we embody this idea, this notion of ourselves as a nation, an inner nation, if you will, and we speak truth to ourselves, we learn to speak truth to others, and that can grow, that can catch on. So in the truth, we begin to find ways to not have to choose conflict all the time, but to find ways to better communicate and be in service to one another. But I think the other quote that really has always been a powerful one that I wanted to share is, when I dare to be powerful, to use my strength in the service of my vision, then it becomes less and less important whether I am afraid. So many times I hear people say, well, I'm just afraid. I'm afraid of what's happening right now. And, we may be in some way within ourselves, there may be some fear that's kind of tingling, it gets a little
Yeah.
nerve-wracking, and then we shut down. But what we can do, how we can serve, is to step beyond that
Move
sense
through.
of letting that fear shut us down.
Mm-hmm.
So anybody
I
who's
like
listening
it.
into that. Let's kind of have that sense of each morning, placing our hands over our heart, taking a deep breath, bringing it in. And
Yes.
just exhale, exhale, exhale. Breathe that all out. Whatever is holding you back, whatever is the fear, just keep doing that. It's a consciousness exercise. It's good for the heart too, but it's a consciousness exercise so
Mhm.
that you're constantly aware of letting go, constantly becoming aware of how truly powerful you are. And when you align that power with love, you just by passing by somebody, you might affect something in their
That's right.
lives that you had no idea was even going on. You may walk into a room and instantly change the energy of
That's
that
right.
room.
Mhm.
You may speak a few words into a very highly charged, conflicted space, and all of a sudden find pathways to peace there. So I just wanted to
I
share that.
like that. Yes. Who said that quote? Or was,
Uh,
or is that,
that was just a conglomerate of quotes that I just put together.
okay? But yeah, it's the Audrey Scott Williams soup. That's
Oh,
what.
Yes, yes.
When Debbie was speaking about that being in the center of those two people that were in conflict, what I pictured and what I could see was that that person standing in the middle is holding the space for peace. So for whatever the best outcome for the situation, not going from one side or the other. And I think when we stand in the middle like that, or when we stand in our power, so to speak, then those that are in their power are gravitated to that energy.
Yes.
And that energy is what accumulates around the world, and people begin to make different choices, and things begin to come in a different manner that is bringing peace instead of destruction. So I think that it's important for us to know, first of all, know who we are. And that comes from what I was listening to Audrey speak about, going within and cleansing and clearing and bringing into our being that peace that we need in order for it to be peace in the world, because it can't be peace outside of us unless there's peace within us. So
I really like Ho'oponopono.
yeah.
Oh, yes.
Exactly.
Yes, the Hawaiian and Joe Vitale does a lot with that. And yeah, it's it's one of those things that can help to really clear the frequency and make it possible for that energy, that vibration to move up, to say those phrases. I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, and I love you. And to
Yes.
say those. And there was a psychiatrist that cleared out I think it was a whole mental hospital by
Yes.
working with that.
Yes, he did in Malachi in
Yeah.
Hawaii.
Amazing. Yeah.
And never saw anyone, never went
No,
to see anyone.
never went to see any of them. Yeah.
He just took the records, read them, and then kept doing the Ho'oponopono. And within 3 or 4 years, the place had completely turned around. And that's the power that we have. I think so much in the world around us likes to, there's this energy of minimizing our perception of who we are. We're sort of brought into that. We don't realize we're drawn into that. And yet we are filled with infinite potential.
Yeah.
And that potential is just just wanting us to realize that we might do things that to be an example of that. And not only that, it's a lot of fun. Don't you have fun
It
when
is.
you're doing something that
Mm-hmm.
you just decided one day, I'm going to do this, and you just move into that space. Or sometimes we'll just get the giggles over something that who knows what it was. Half the time we don't remember it again. But it liberates the soul. And I believe that we are all here to be liberated souls, to
I do
remember
too.
who we are.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not as complex as it is made. It is
And to have fun. Yeah.
That's
have
right.
fun.
And to have fun. Yeah, absolutely. Oh, so good. Wow. Well, I know we kind of laughed a little bit about, talking about like, what in the world are we doing? But I think we've kind of already been talking about what in the world we are doing. I just think that you both do a lot to help ease the immediate and the larger kind of suffering that a lot of people go through. And sometimes just having a little place to go, or just having another voice of one or two people who says, we're here and you're welcome here. All those things go such a long way, but I know you two, you do a lot for many, and it is just community all around you, wherever you are, that you bring.
Thank you, Debbie.
Thank you, Debbie.
Yes.
What haven't we touched on? Anything that you want people to know more about?
You know, one of the things, as you were talking, you and Karen were talking, I just want to encourage people to step into whatever it is that they've been holding, and do it not just for yourselves, but the next generation coming along will be inspired. The more we step into whatever is that call, that our next generation is going to be dealing with a lot. I don't know that we've left footprints that are as the ones that I would choose to make or to leave behind. I think they're going to have big decisions to make, and I am trusting that they have all the genius to do so. So I just wanted people to remember that, others to remember that as we walk our lives, to remember that everything we do is influencing the next generation. And sometimes we don't always walk the best path. And so we become more conscious of how impactful our footprint is on the earth and in all of our relationships. I just pray that we'll be more mindful about how we move around the planet.
Yeah, yeah, very well said. And you know, we are all one, and we're all in this together. So the more we do for ourselves and the more we do for anyone around us, the more people are positively impacted.
Yes.
By what we do.
Yes.
So.
And I really appreciate you, Debbie. I appreciate dialogues with you. You give us sort of free space to just explore. Back to the explore.
Back to the explore, yeah.
And you know, I think that's wonderful to get in there and explore the heart and the consciousness.
Oh, well, I love you both, and I'm so excited about being there Saturday. I just think that's going to be so much fun, such a lovely space in which to be. And I'm so glad you're doing it. And you know, I know when you left us, I was like, oh no, it might be a really long time, but I feel like now we're past what seemed like a long time. And I'm really glad we're past that we're still, you know, we're just still all hanging out together. That's what matters.
Absolutely. Well, we love you, and we really are grateful to, once again, you having us back on the show. I guess we're not so bad after all.
You guys are wonderful. Are you kidding? Wonderful. Give your contact info or how people can find you for anyone who didn't know you were here before.
Yeah.
It's
Karen Hunter Watson.us. That's KarenHunterWatson.us.
Okay. And your CDs there?
The CDs would be there.
Bandcamp,
yes.
And it's called Timeless.
Okay. And that's on your main website?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
And for me, Audrey, Audri Scott Williams at, oh no, that's my email. Well, at gmail.com. Please feel free to email me if you'd like.
Yeah.
And my website is audriscottwilliams.com.
Okay, excellent. Well, it's amazing. Anytime I dictate your name, I always have to change how it spells your name. I'm like, no, you got to take off that and add the I on the end. Oh,
yes.
Well, thank you so much. And thank you all for listening. I know I have some editing to do of another one from last week. And so it may take me a little bit to get this, but I'll be getting it up as soon as possible. And it's been great to be with you both again this time around.
Thank you, Debbie. We enjoy it.
Oh, thank you. All right. So let me stop this recording. No. let's see. What? That isn't. Let's see. That? No. Stop. Okay, let's see. I thought it was.